It's time to blitz with Blitch. Blitzin with Blitch. Man, how do you come up with a football name like that? Your mom and dad did that right.
That worked out well there. It's been a blessing and a curse for most of the family. Look, I've looked like this since I was about 12, so I didn't have too much of a hard time with it. But
I love it. Well, come off of a tough game with Coweta and a huge game now with Durant. Basically, at the beginning of the year, you guys eyed 6 teams looking at 4 playoff spots. Durant was one of those 6 teams. And for the Shawnee Wolves coming into tomorrow night's Thursday night game, it's really one of those you've had circled. We got to win it.
yeah, it's going to be a big one for us. After falling last week, that puts us in a spot where, now Coweta's going to be 3-0, and we got 4 teams tied at 2-1 in district play for, 3 spots. So, the road's paved ahead of us, for us to, take care of business, but it's going to be on us. We kind of control our own destiny in that way. If we can kind of rally together and win out these next 4 games, then we have a chance to end up finishing up 6-1 in district play. If Booker T were to upset Coweta, and beat them down the road and win out, could have a 3-way tie at 6-1. Then it comes down to district points for the 1 seed. So that's still in play there. Trying to get the 2 seed, host a playoff game, still a possibility. So, like I said, it's a tough one the other night, but at the end of the day, it's that 1 loss in district right now. We still have 4 more ball games to take care of, chance to go 6-1 in district, and get after it. So, we got to look ahead for tomorrow. We got Durant. We got to head down there again. It's going to be a long travel game, which, always difficult. We're going to try to find a midway point. Think we got to stop, stretch our legs down there a little bit on the way down there, and hopefully get after them. But yeah, it's going to be a big time atmosphere down there. They play at a Southeastern college down there on their university campus. So it'll be a fun trip for the boys and a good business work day for us to get down there.
I agree. And so let's not hang around Coweta too long, but you have to be really, really happy with your defense and the defensive effort. You guys are holding the opposition through 6 games to just about 200 yards a game, like 220, something like that. 610 passing yards all season. You're only giving up, 52% completion rate on those, only 6 TDs passing, 699 yards rushing through 6 games. I mean, you guys are putting up as a defense pretty great numbers, Coach.
Yeah, we've had some good nights and some nights that we wish we had back. It's kind of been up and down. We've had a couple games. I think PCN. I think we gave up was that the one, no rushing yards, and then gave up some passing yards. And we had a couple other ones we gave no passing yards and gave some rushing yards, like Ardmore and stuff. Ardmore's obviously the one game that wish we had back. That was the one that we just. A lot of moving parts that week, a lot of different things that went into it, but we just could not get that one stop and turnover we needed desperately to win that game 1 point. But yeah, we've had some ups and downs on games. Obviously, the one thing I feel like we need to improve on is going to be our red zone percentage. Like you said, the yardage isn't high. We've played decently defensively as far as, between the red zones there. But, when things do happen in ball games, sudden change and, between turnovers and return game, things like that, and we are backed up. We haven't played at the level I wish we had. As far as our red zone percentage goes, I wish we'd have that down a little bit. But we felt pretty good about 3rd and 4th down percentage, completion percentage and stuff. Our sacks are decent. Interceptions, I think, are about a little up from where they were at this point last year. But biggest thing I think for us defensively to continuously improve on is going to be that red zone percentage. You got to be able to hold your water when you get in a spot in a bad situation, come off the field. We've had some good stands on the year. The field goals missing and holding teams to 3 when it could have been 6, and getting off the field on some, but just overall collectively the number where it's at now, I wish it was a little lower. But that's the one thing we talk as a staff that we want to really impress upon the kids is when you get in there, because there's that it's an emotional game when you get out there and hey, something happens, you're backed up in a bad spot. Or say a team has a big play and they go quick and they're down on the 8-yard line. Well, sometimes kids, they get a little lax, and that's the thing you got to, preach to them. It's like, man, you got to have that intensity at all times. Like sometimes you're going to be in bad spots. Stuff's going to happen in football games. You got to rise to that occasion. You've got to find that, that mental toughness to get out there and continuously compete every single play. And so as a staff, that's something you try to impress on them in practice and rep and push. Like, hey man, you always have that energy, that tempo, fly around to the ball, and just constantly go, 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 go. So that's one thing, especially the young team like we have now. It's reminiscent of 2 years ago when we came in here. Coach Don and I, there's a lot of younger guys hadn't been in situations. We struggled to finish games in that one. When we had ups and downs, and even when we had close games, you saw that double OT Seminole. I'll never get over that one. But some of the young guys were trying to, hey, we've got to compete. It's not every guy, but just some guys who are still getting acclimated to that mental fortitude you got to have to lock down in those tough situations. So the ebbs and flow of the game, you're gonna have those highs and lows, and just maintaining that common balance. Which having a guy like Nolan's kind of our catalyst as far as like staying even keel personality wise, and we got a lot of ups and downs with personalities. So that's one of the biggest things for us is finishing and being consistent with our mentality and our approach, even in bad situations. Yeah, we've it's been a decent season. You obviously want to keep improving. We got 4 more games to show what we got, starting tomorrow night with Durant.
Well, and we're hoping for 8 more games. We're just
Yeah,
mid-season, aren't we, Coach?
yeah. I mean, really, we tell the boys, we're only guaranteed 4 more, and those seniors, we try to let them know, like, listen, you're only guaranteed 4 more games. If you want to hang up your cleats and your career be over, a month from now, then that's what it is. But if you want to keep playing this game, guys you love and a program you love for the school and community you love, you got to keep fighting. You got to fight, every second, every down to the clocks, hit zero across the board into that fourth quarter. So if you want to continue and, gain that extra rope and gain that extra runway, you got to keep balling every single snap every day. So, it's on them that way, try to keep that buy-in, help them pressing the issue. And Edison, then we got Kelly and McAllister. So it's going to be good showdown, similar to last year where those Final Four came down to it. That McAllister game was a tough one. So it'll be interesting to see how we go through the fit. And we got a good ball club. We go down there that same district record as us, same overall record as us, heading down tomorrow night.
Yep, big Durant. So talk to us a little bit about what to anticipate on the offensive side from Durant.
Offensively, I mean, they do a lot. It's kind of bounced around with like what they're looking for is their identity. I think they've done a little gun bone, like shotgun flex bone stuff. Some spread stuff, some power, some different things. They like to run a little bit of heavy front jumbo stuff, some little quarterback power things we've seen, some screen game. They've gone spread. They do some empty. So you know, really, they do a good job offensively, whether it is them looking for an identity or them trying to stay multiple. Like defensively, we do something different, often many weeks. That's one of the strengths, I think, of what we do is we stay creative and we try to keep people guessing and keep bouncing around what we're doing on our fronts and stuff. But for them, they're going to mix it up, and they've come out each week with a different approach. They came out Booker T. Washington and kind of did a little called gun bone, but gun flex bone with 4 in the backfield, some different stuff, a little triple option action, reminiscent of what kind of like Ardmore does, but from a shotgun set. So they attacked them that week with that. They've come out some other games, doing a lot of empty stuff. Then they've done some standard, just power. So it's gonna be interesting. We're not really entirely sure what they're gonna come out with for their game plan for us to attack us. Um, whether they're going to worry about our speed because we've shown that, like Booker T game, we played very fast that game. If they're going to try to go bigger and, go that, or, if they're going to try to spread it out and negate what we can do in the box with some of that. Because anytime you go, they base a good bit out of empty. Anytime you get into a lot of empty stuff, you really, limit what you can do play calling wise for a defense. So they may try to do something in that regard and try to, simplify the looks they're going to get on us. You can only bring so much pressure when you're facing an empty set without tipping your hat that you're in cover 1 or cover 0 or something, or you're doing some kind of combo 6 or something like that. So it'll be a chess match that first quarter, like most games, kind of see out what their plan of attack is going to be to us, and see what what we've got locked in this week defensively, what we can use to combat that, and see kind of you know tick and tack right there, and just kind of see what it goes.
So
Again,
tell us about their quarterback. What do you anticipate from their quarterback?
Quarterback's tough. He can run the ball. I would say he's similar to kind of Kawita's quarterback last week. A tough kid, run the ball a little bit, can throw it, well enough to get that ball out there. He got some athletes. They got 2 kids. They got their starter and they got another kid that came over from McAllister. and he can probably throw it, I think, a little bit more when he's out there, but haven't shown a ton. They've done a little bit of two quarterback stuff. They got some different things, some little trick plays you've seen with them. So expect them to come out and do some quarterback run game stuff, get their guys the ball in open space out there, some screen stuff. Try not to be too exotic. I don't think in the passing game they're going to try to do some stuff. I feel where they're going to try to get some guys leaking, get our eyes wrong because they are a heavy run team. They got some good cross plays, some leak stuff with their tights. So really, it's going to be about discipline for us, just making sure we stay true to our assignment and do your job. Don't try to do another guy's job, and make sure we're not getting too overzealous on anything. Trying to make the play for ourselves and stay home. We got to stay backside, things like that. I think it'll be a good game if we can slow down the quarterback run game. Anytime the quarterback, if the Q's a player, that's tough. I mean, that gives them the running back becomes that 10th blocker. They need true 11 on 11 out there, or you create those 10 gaps when you got 11 gaps with those 10 blockers for 11 guys defensively. So anytime you have that threat, it makes it a challenge defensively of what you're going to do because it does cut down. You got to have that bonus +1 in the box as far as the run game goes. So I think we'll see when we come out tomorrow night, that first probably 2 series, what they're really going to be like, hey, what their bread and butter they feel they're going to have success with against us. And whether that is they're going to feel, hey, they can come out and overpower us with strength because they are a strong football team and combat our speed that way, or if they want to kind of go out and run with us and go spread for spread. So that'll be something we'll have to look at. I think you may have cut off there. So now I'm just sitting here on the air for it. So awkward silence. All right, we'll keep talking about little Kawita there or Durant. Yeah, I think tomorrow night heading down, we'll have a good showdown for it. I think the big thing for us matchup wise is going to be our front, where I think their O line's pretty solid and they're really salty and they've got some really strong guys. They have a very good powerlifting program down there, and we see them in the springtime out there and they're slinging some weight. So that's going to be something for us to try to go down there and see how we match up across that front strength wise, which again, because we know their kids are so big and pretty strong, that's where we kind of feel like they may try to lean towards in that heavy run game, and they're probably going to feel like they have an advantage on us. Last week, Khalida did a decent job against our speed pack, our smaller front, with moving some bodies out there. Actually, ironically, I take that back. We came out last week more of a heavy set, bigger bodies. They did a pretty good job because we got lighter on the back end with our linebackers, and then we actually jumped into our speed and got a little faster against Kawita and had more success with it. So now if they go tight splits and they try to line up, hip to hip, foot to foot, and they try to, mud us out that way, it'll be interesting. So we'll find out here in that first segment there once we get to the game. Now, as far as players for tomorrow, I think we're feeling pretty good. Health wise, most of the guys are up there defensively are going to be pretty healthy. Most of our players are locked in this week. Some of the ailments we've had last week slowly got a little fresher. We rotated some guys. You may see a couple new faces. Obviously, having Garrett McCurdy back, that's been big for us. Having him come back in the fold. He's been out, most of the season dealing with a little bit of an injury stuff, rehabbing throughout it, but having him back in the mix, playing a little bit of that Rob spot for us outside, also being able to play some of that safety will be good for us, giving us added depth with him, Dylan Simmons, Jaden Hunt, Ramel Slaughter, and those guys. And then heading out through it, I was in there texting there. Heading up through it, we're also gonna have like Nolan Ward and those guys, Cade McKee, who's been a stud, and of course Riley Story. So Riley's been an absolute animal for us this year. I think he had a heck of a game the other night. Had 3 sacks the other night, just flying off the ball. Had like 5 TFLs. Just for a sophomore, him being just an absolute animal like that. Biggest thing for us this week, we having Jaden Smith back, so that'll be huge. He's been senior leader and just a catalyst for what we're doing defensively. He banged up, had a little stuff last week, didn't play in that Kawita game. So now having him back is going to end up being a huge added benefit for us because, when he goes down, we have to move a couple people to compensate for him at that spot, like that end spot. We're in our speed pack, playing that linebacker spot, that jack linebacker. So anytime you have to move a guy, it creates like a domino shift. You're moving a bunch of guys to, compensate across the board. So I think we're feeling pretty good going into it. I don't think we're getting locked back in the segment here. I think it kind of gave you the boot. It looks So heading into it, I'm gonna give a shout out. I think we got a Wingstop coming in tonight, St. Benedict's Church. They've been, extremely hospitable for us this weekend or this year so far, same as last year, hosting us, every Wednesday or every Thursday. This week's gonna be on a Wednesday night. Bring the boys in, having that hospitality and fellowship with the coaches, staff, with the players. It's been huge for us. So, big shout out to them and appreciation for everything they've done for us. Anytime you bring in a house 70 boys, week in, week out, that's awesome for them because his kids get after it and like to eat. So big shout out to them and Wingstop, ShawneeCTV for everything. It's about time Daniel will have his little shout out here. ShawneeCTV, everybody come out to the game tomorrow night. Coming down there, it's a long road game. That travel, that's tough on us. Anytime you travel that far, it's our longest trip of the season. So you get kind of isolated down there. It's going to be a unique stadium, a little bit bigger than our typical high school stadium. So if we can get as many people down there to pack it out as we can, come down there, show that support. I mean, that's always huge. You've seen how we've played at home the last 2 years. It's been awesome for us. So bringing that atmosphere on the road is going to be extremely beneficial. So please come out there, support Shawnee Wolves and Shawnee CTV community, one season at a time. All right. See ya.